Well, Pacelli and Boomer, they're grizzled and gray, talking about Star Wars from back in the day. Got a talk show called Geeky Geezers, it's true, spinning old tales about the stuff they went through. From Atari to Shrek, they know every line. Geeky Geezers, man, they're feeling just fine. Pacelli's got a lightsaber, swings it with pride. Boomer's got a game but plays it deep in the night. They're ranting about He-Man and old X-Men too. On Geeky Geezers, they're the nerdiest crew, talking Transformers toys that twist and they turn, singing blues for the geek life, their hearts still burn. Oh, Geeky Geezers, they're living the dream, talking comics and movies, they're busting the seams. From Battlestar reruns to D&D lore, they're preaching the gospel of geek evermore. Pacelli and Boomer, they'll never grow old. Geeky Geezers with hearts made of gold. They're sitting in the studio, mics turned up loud, reminiscing about Super Friends, feeling so proud. Pacelli loves Spider-Man, Boomer's for Hulk. They argue about Star Trek with passionate both. From Betamax tapes to their old D20s, Geeky Geezers where the nostalgia flows. They got fans in the chat, from the young to the old, tuning in to hear stories that never get cold. Talking Ghostbusters and proton packs, toys in the box, and Saturday mornings with cartoons that rocks. Pacelli and Boomer, they're keeping it real. Geeky Geezers with that old school feel. Oh, Geeky Geezers, they're living the dream, talking comics and movies, they're busting the scenes. From Battlestar reruns to D&D lore, they're preaching the gospel of geek evermore. Pacelli and Boomer, they'll never grow old. Geeky Geezers with hearts made of gold. They're singing the blues for the games that they play, for the VHS tapes and the arcades that pray. But the spirits are young, though their hair's turning white. Geeky Geezers keep the nerd fire alight, so tune in each week to the Geeky Geezers show, where Pacelli and Boomer let the good times flow. From X-Files to X-Men, they're dropping the news, singing praises of geek life with them old blues. Pacelli and Boomer, forever they'll be. Geeky Geezers living wild and free.
Hello everyone, welcome to Geeky Geezers. I'm your host, Agent Boomer, with a brand new microphone. Hope I sound good.
I think you sound very professional.
Yes, we aim to be professionals here. And to my right is my co-host, Troy Pacelli.
Yep, hello, hello.
And underneath is Netter of Netters Network. We also call her the Geezette.
Good evening.
It sounds like Gazette, now that I think about it. But
Geezette is Gazette. Well, this is a news show, so
yes,
I think so.
The best in geek news. That's usually bad, but anyway.
Well, that's true. And do you mind if I thank the supporter of the producer of the night, Ruby Hoove, who gifted a Netters Network membership. That went to Mr. Michael Scott 24. Thank you so much, Ruby. You are so kind. And also to she gave one on my channel, which went to CC Karaoke. Thank you so much, Ruby. Super appreciate that. You are the producer of the night. Oh, what? Everything okay?
Oh no, I thought you were going to play the Ruby Hoove thing.
Oh, I could. You're right. I should.
Ruby Hoove, you're a gem shining through. Every kindness, every gift makes the whole world sparkle new. Ruby Hoove, thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Ruby.
Thank you. And welcome Big Al of Big Al Presents. Hello, my geezer friends. I hope you have a great show tonight and a wonderful week ahead. Well, we got a very unfortunate In Remembrance coming up later.
Yeah, we do.
We do. Netters Network, get a hi, sweetie, from her. And thank you for the support. Yes, help support Agent Boomer to get me up to 500 members. I got a few extra ones last week, but if you're not subscribed, go ahead and click on that subscribe button and give me a like if you prefer.
Yep, and if you're watching on my channel or Netter's channel, feel free to jump over to Agent Boomer's channel, because honestly, it's the same show, and subscribe to him over there.
Yes. So we get last call up with Troy Pacelli. He's in the chat. Welcome.
Yep, yep.
Oh,
Ruby.
actually, I mathed wrong. You only need 121 more
See, I'm
subscribers.
doing better.
Okay.
I'm doing a little better.
Okay. We're
Yeah,
getting there.
you've actually gotten quite a few because before it was like 170 something. Now
Yeah.
it's 121.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
bad.
yeah.
Not bad. Thank you all for thank you everyone who subscribed. I really appreciate it. We have an aged boomer in the chat. I've warned you about being in the chat before. Please leave. You're not wanted here. Oh wait, that's me. Never mind. Okay.
You're such a boomer.
My alter ego. Okay, Connie Cleary, welcome. Good to see you. And I don't know if we already get this Ruby Hoog? Did she do two of them? Let me see here.
Yes, we did. She did one on my channel and one on Netter's
Oh,
channel.
excellent. Well, thank you again. And the lucky recipient is CC Karaoke.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
And we always every so often we do a karaoke stream, CC, so you might be interested in that. Deleted Scenes, welcome. Always good to see you. Enigma Severus, welcome. And Zootopia. Hi, everybody. I watched Spider-Noir this weekend. It was great. Highly recommend it. Thank you. I don't know if you've seen that yet or not. Spider-Noir?
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
It's on my list to watch.
It's Nick Cage being extra Nick Cage, if you're interested.
I would, yeah, which of course is what you go there for. So absolutely.
I swear, I think he's doing a Jimmy Stewart impersonation with how he talks.
Okay.
Like, it's not Cagney. Who's he? Which old actor is he doing? And I'm like, it's Stewart. It's Jimmy Stewart. Anyway, but I guess let's bring up the presentation. If we have that ready. In fact, I can do that, can I?
Yes, you can. Yes, and
Look at this, Geeky Geezers, and I thought we might do a little follow-up to our Friday stream. Oh, I did want to welcome Hobbit Owl. Welcome. Let's hop over from Literary Archaeology. That's interesting.
There you go.
And Geek Flag, also welcome. Hello, my fellow farts and the lovely netters, and Mrs. Pacelli.
Yep.
Check your DMs, okay? And welcome to the studio as well.
Oh, okay.
So we just talked about the good old days. Tonight is the good old days of the floppy disk.
Oh gosh, yeah. What made you think of that? Was that our talk on Friday?
I think it was our talk on Friday, and I think I have to admit that I'm wondering now if, especially if there are any younger people in the stream, do they even know what a floppy disk is?
Yeah, good point.
Or do they know how they were used? This is, of course, later floppy disks. We're going to go into the older ones too, but this is how you got your information on your computer. And I have a question. The old computers, like the Commodore 64, could you save to the computer, or did you have to save to your floppy?
No, yeah, you had to say if you didn't have a floppy drive, you didn't have any resident memory. That's exactly right. It was all about the disks.
Okay, now here's something that's kind of funny. So y'all know that we spent a weekend around July 4th at my mother-in-law's.
Mm-hmm.
And as she does, she goes, hey, I got some things. Do you want any of this? And of course the answer is usually no, but
not really.
to be nice, I'll take a look. And if I can defer to Troy, I'll be like, honey, what do you think? On this case, Troy was doing something in the kitchen, so I was down in the basement with her. And she has this box of literal junk.
Yeah.
And she goes, can you use any of the stuff? She had some notebooks, so I'm like, okay, I'll take those. But she had not just the little 3.5 floppies, the hard ones. She had the big ones. What was those, 8-inch?
Well, let's see.
6
The
inch?
smaller ones that they called them floppy disks, but they weren't.
Yeah,
It was
they're
3.75.
3.75 discs.
Three-quartered it. And then the five and
5
something.
and 3/4 or something.
I don't
yeah,
know.
those ones that were really floppy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the ones that are on the screen. She had some of those. Then she had the older ones that were so much bigger. And I'm like,
Yeah,
no,
like
Mom,
they're
computers-
almost like 10 inches across. It's
Yeah, I'm like, Mom, no one uses those anymore. And
Yeah.
she's like, oh, okay, well, I thought I'd ask. It's like, no, I don't want your garbage.
Just for you in the audience, if you ever find one of those old discs or smaller discs, and you try to bring it down to your local public library because your current computer doesn't have a disk drive, we do not have them either. However, if your library system has an historical archive, they may have the means of reading what's on that disk. So you could always ask, okay? But
Yeah.
I would recommend seeing if your library system has a historical archive that might have a means of you looking at your old data, so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hail to Clue Studio. Good to see you, my friend. Salute.
3.5 look an awful lot like the cards they used on the Enterprise. Well, they knew where we were going, weren't they?
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Oh, there's this line on Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, when they said, well, should I roll the tape back? Which was the Genesis problem. Like,
yeah,
we ain't using... I wish he had said roll the video back or the recording back, not the tape.
Well, it's interesting because you realize that language has a tendency to hold on to phrases even after that phrase no longer means anything. Like, for example, we talk about in cinema, we talk about footage. Well, that used to be footage of film, and they're not even using film. Well, most movies aren't using film anymore. They're using, it's digital, but they still refer to it as getting the footage.
Like if they use an HD camera as opposed to using a film camera. I got
Exactly. So the idea of rolling it back implies an actual tape of some kind, but oftentimes that's not what we're talking about when we're talking about a video. We're saying roll it back, back it up, rewind. Well, even rewind has the implied meaning that there's a tape involved, and there isn't, right?
This is true.
So it would not be beyond me to believe that even in the 23rd century, they would use a phrase like that, even when there is no tape involved, even when there is no analog, process involved.
Right. Were you intimidated by these?
I guess I might have been when I first started using them back in the late 70s.
Were they larger in the late 70s than this?
Yeah, they were. There
was a larger size one. I don't think I've.
They were. Yeah. Well, those I'll be honest, wasn't even exposed to until the late 80s when I was doing some archive work at a company that I worked for. Because, well, actually, it was probably the early 90s. And I was like, holy crap, I didn't realize they made them this big. And then I looked to see how much memory they held, and they held not as much as a 3 3.25 inch disc.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, this is really, really wild technology. But yeah, that's what those huge 10-inch discs were only used by companies because the average person couldn't afford them. It wasn't until we had, the Commodore 64 and other home computers that you got those 5-inch discs. Which again didn't hold a lot. But what they did do was they would give you stacks of discs when you would buy programs, and you would insert the first one, and it would read all that one, then it would read the second one, then it would read the third one, and it would install it, and so yeah, there you go.
Because it was multiples. Like, wait a minute, let me get into this. Well, there's another one. Is that more of the size?
Yeah, that was the ones I was used to. And I noticed, do you notice something very telling about the status of this disc?
No.
You notice there's no little notch punched out of the side of that disc.
Okay. You might as well tell us what you mean by the little...
You can't write to that disc, and you can't copy that disc. So this was actually true with cassettes too. I don't know if people knew this. There was this little tab.
I knew that.
In the cassette.
Yep.
And if you recorded something on it, you could punch that out so that you couldn't accidentally tape over it. And every disc or every cassette that you bought that was like a commercial album or something like that, already had that punched out because they did not, of course, want you to accidentally record
over what you paid
your copy of Purple Rain or whatever it was, right?
Yeah, like
I was able to do it.
But
yes,
you could use two cassette drives, read from one and write to the other one.
Sure.
To make a duplicate. In theory, you could do the same thing with a cassette, but in order to do that, you would have to put a piece of tape over where that piece of where that cutout was, so that you
Yep.
could consider it readable for the purpose of writing to another disc.
Yeah, there were the two little tabs on top of the audio tapes, and then for the VCR VHS tapes, there was that little
There was
tab on
one,
the front, which
yeah.
you'd record your shows, and you don't want your Doctor Who episodes being recorded over, so you use a little.
Punch that out.
Yeah, you punch.
Yeah.
You could use a. I usually used a screwdriver, and I would just
Yeah.
flathead, and would pop it out
But
that
you
way.
could always put a piece of tape over it if you
Yes.
decide you did want to record over your parents' wedding or something like that, because you had to get the next episode of Twin Peaks or whatever it was. So,
Exactly. And the funny thing about I will say this for the technology of old, the user had more rights to mess around with it. I think they had more of an ability. I'm just thinking of that now with what we've just been talking about. Like if you want to modify what they sold you, you could just by putting a piece of tape over the place that you. And the new cassette had a little tab on the back. You had to pull it off and be able to record on a blank cassette. I'm trying to remember what I did to pull those off with. It's been so long. Anyway.
but yeah, and Zork was. Oh, I remember Zork. Yeah.
So to play your computer games, they would come on these discs.
Yep. And you would have to load sometimes 2-3 discs. Zork was not usually that data intensive, because it was just text. It was really just text. But you did have to have a separate disc to save your progress on. Otherwise, you'd have to start over every single time.
I'm curious about something. These Infocom discs, when they would give you the Atari and the Commodore, did sometimes, like, the Commodore version was on one side of the disc and the Atari version was on the other, and you would flip it depending on what kind of computer you had? Was that ever a thing, or is my mind
I don't
playing
know,
tricks on
because
me?
I never paid any attention to anything but the Commodore data.
Okay.
So if
Because it
there
might have
was
been they put the Commodore side on the front because that was the more popular, and then they would put the Atari side on the back.
that could be.
And there's that little dot you were telling me about, right?
No. So if you look at the right hand, the right hand side of the disc is not okay. Let me move myself. Okay, and in fact, I will line it up with right where it would be, right above where my head is. If you cut a little half square notch there, that would allow you to write to the disc and read from it for the purpose of writing.
Of making a copy.
And you also have another little tidbit in here: the Epic's fast load, which was the equivalent of overclocking your processor nowadays.
What? That I didn't even know about this. Okay.
Yeah. It was just a cartridge that plugged in, and it was, like, as far as I knew, the only cartridge. It's not like I ever had to remove it, because it's not like I had games on cartridges or anything like that. It was the only utility that I'm aware of, and it just kind of stayed in its place.
So the Atari, so the Commodore also had a cartridge slot.
It did. Yep.
Much like the Atari computer did, because I had cartridges for it. And who knows, maybe we had one of these fast loaders, for all I know.
Possibly.
Maybe we had one, I just didn't know any of it because I was a kid. But, let me see here. Let's go on to Ultima
4, which I now have on Steam. That was a more data intense thing. You would boot it off of one disc, but then if you went to a certain place in the game or something like that, it would say you had to load another disc, and you'd have to wait for it to load that up and stuff.
So basically, more like this. Hold on, let me go to the multiple discs.
Yep. Now those are down to the and those discs held multiple times more than those 5-inch discs. So when they started coming on this, they were getting into some big programs. Nate says, here's how it typically worked back in the 80s for the Commodore 64 and the Atari 8-bit family, like the Atari 400, 800, and so forth. One, same disc, flip it over, flipper disc. Many commercial software publishers saved manufacturing costs by putting the Commodore version on side A and the Atari version on side B.
I thought so. Okay, because you only ever paid attention to the Commodore side. But yeah, they did put the Atari. And later on, the Commodore disc, sometime when you would buy a game, you'd still get the Atari game on the big old discs, and then they would throw in just a separate Commodore disc like this. And this would just be a separate disc in there. That would be the Commodore 64 version. So you basically get both versions.
Right.
Like the same, except that later they just put them on separate software, because I guess Commodore moved over to these, and these were the shorter discs. I believe somebody else was talking about it in here. The 3x5 floppies went HD, and you could save up to 1.44 megabytes on one disc. Is that this?
Yep. Yes, it is. And you'll notice in the upper right-hand corner, you see a little black square there. That was a tab. And you would slide the tab open if you wanted to read-write, or slide it back into place if you wanted to protect it.
I remember that because I first really started learning about computers in '95, and when I was taking community college classes, and they I think, I don't know if they required it or if they allowed you to take it, but you could take an intro computer class, and you would have to write papers a lot for these classes. So you would do it by using the school computers, but then you would have to have your own floppy disk to save your paper on. Do you understand?
Yeah.
You'd have to know that you had to flip it to the left or the right. And oh, heaven help you. This is where you learn with Word. Always click save. Always click save. Or was it works at that point? I don't know. You would always click save, because if you didn't, you write your essay and you're all good to go, and you close out and you realize I didn't save. You got to write the whole thing all over again, which happened to me once. Yes,
exactly.
That can still happen to Word now too, even though it's online now. You have to be careful.
Well, I have like my Word and Excel and any of those type of programs set to auto save. And you can change how when you want to. So mine saves every 5 minutes, and I mean I can still manually do it, but in case I'm working on something, it'll still save after every 5 minutes.
That's smart. That's how I had Pages set up. I thought I had Word set up like that. This was when I was on spring break, and I was working on my major assignment, and I was doing my research, and I was posting links and all this other stuff, and I was like, okay. And then it asked if I want to save, and I'm like, after I was about to close out, and I said, I've already saved a bunch of times, right? And I just clicked don't save, and then I realized, because I didn't have it saved to auto save, and then I opened it up again, and I had to go through my search history to get all my research back. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Anyway, it happened to me again, even now in the year 2026. But these were kind of cool. These were see-through. You get to see what's on the inside. Look at that. It actually is a disc on the inside, isn't it?
It is. And well, I had, long before these ever came out, I had already, taken old discs that I no longer had any use for, and just pulled them apart to see what they were and how they worked and stuff. Yeah, they looked smaller, but they held a lot more information than the bigger discs.
Yeah. Oh, Leisure Suit Larry says save early, save often. Funny.
Right.
Well, it's like I tell Troy when he's playing Fallout 4. The first time I said to him, I said, honey, be religious. And he goes, what? I said, be like Jesus. He goes, huh? I was like, Jesus saves? And he goes,
yes.
So now it's a running thing with us where I'll be like, were you like Jesus? And he goes, yeah, I'm saving right now.
Yeah, exactly. Because last thing you want is to find yourself in a situation you're like, I got to go all the way back to that other point and do all that crap again.
That happens to me in the Zelda games sometimes, because even though it does do autosave,
yeah,
sometimes after you beat this big, I want to call them mini bosses, these things called guardians that run about, they're hard to kill. You better make sure you save right after you kill one, because if you get killed by another one right afterwards, then your previous save of killing the other one doesn't save, and then you have to start all over again.
Yeah.
But yeah, see, there we go. Kind of cool. Just giving you kids a bit of history. You could flip this part, the metal part, open and see the disc on the inside, but you don't want to expose it, especially around a magnet, right?
Yeah.
You lose all your information.
And also, if you look at that metal piece, you can that's on a spring.
Yep.
And you could slide it to the left, and that opening there, that big rectangle, would expose the surface of the disc, which is, of course, where the stylus inside your computer would read it from. So
yeah. Fun fact, though, I remember these being a big step up from the old floppies, though, back in the day.
They were. And we still call them floppy disks, but I was like, but these are kind of rigid, because you had that plastic case. I suppose the disc inside was still technically floppy.
I'd throw them into a backpack on the way to
Yep.
college or something. I don't know if I stuck them in something protective, though. I might have found like a plastic box to put them in or something, because they could still break,
You actually could get like plastic cases that held like 10 of them, for whatever,
Could you theoretically, if you broke the shell, you could do some surgery and take this disc out and put it in another one?
Yes, in theory. In practice, it's very, very finicky.
Gotcha. But of course, later on, the games stopped coming on those discs altogether, and it came on CD-ROM. There is Chessmaster 7000. Remember Chessmaster?
I do, of course. I remember it back on the Commodore with the floppy disk. So I think I had Chessmaster 3000.
I loved this game because what I loved about the Chessmaster games is I think Ubisoft ended up owning this, which explains why the series has gone into ill repair. But you used to be able to play the game, but sometimes you get to play music in the background. They'd have classical music on the disc, right? And you could play that in the background while you were playing your chess. I don't know. I thought it was nifty. Some of the older discs also worked on Mac too, not just PC. So that was kind of neat too. But yeah. I don't know. Just thought we'd reminisce about the floppy disk. Anything left to say?
No, I mean those are pretty fun memories. I did feel like we kind of hit our pinnacle when we got to like DVD drives, because the amount of information you could put on a DVD drive was, you only needed the one disc, and they said that even some of the games didn't even use the full potential of the disc, didn't need to.
DVDs were good technology that I feel we threw away too quickly. Because people think of DVDs and they think, oh, for movies. But no, they could be used for information also. They were very good for games. The games of the 6th generation, they were all on DVD. And even the Xbox 360, I think, was still using DVD, even as we moved into HD. It's kind of a pity we dumped that technology. It really worked. But what can you do, Time marches forward, and Sony had to sell their Blu-ray technology to sell movies, which they apparently have abandoned anyway. So, all right.
The news doesn't get any better, does it?
No, I picked this picture on purpose. This is Sam Niell as Merlin from the Merlin miniseries.
Yeah,
I really like that miniseries, so I thought let's pick that because. Better than the Antichrist, right?
Yeah, there's that, right? Exactly.
Sam Niell, the smoothly elegant and versatile actor whose prolific career from the all art films to blockbusters, and he dodged velociraptors in Jurassic Park and played Holly Hunter's cruel husband in The Piano, has died. He was 78. In 2023, Niell disclosed he had been diagnosed with angioimmunoblastic T-cell lymphoma, a rare type of non-Hodgkin lymphoma. He died on Monday in Sydney, according to a statement posted to the actor's social media page. His death was sudden and unexpected, the statement said, adding that he remained cancer-free when he died. A cause of death wasn't specified. Sam was surrounded by family and passed with dignity that has characterized his whole life. His family. It sounds like they don't know what caused his death.
Yeah.
Okay.
It sounds like he had this non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, but that's not what he died from.
Awful disease, though. Yeah. close friend of mine died from that, actually. Tributes were paid by fellow actors and directors, including Steven Spielberg, who helmed the first Jurassic Park movie. I adored making all the Jurassic film movies with him, along with Laura Dern and Jeff Goldblum. We will always have our Jurassic family, and Sam will never be forgotten by us or as many millions of fans around the world, Spielberg said in a statement. Actor Sharon Lawrence wrote on Instagram condolences and appreciation for the immense joy and mastery Sam Niell brought our industry. Niell was one of a host of actors and directors who achieved international fame after an explosion of Australian films that began in the late 70s, along with Paul Hogan, Mel Gibson, Geoffrey Rush, Russell Crowe, Jane Campion, Peter Weir, and Gillian Armstrong. His range was remarkable, playing opposite Helena Bonham Carter in the Alec Ayckbourn comedy Sweet Revenge, to chopping off Hunter's finger in The Piano, and poking his own eye out in the sci-fi horror Event Horizon. Remember Event Horizon?
Yeah, and in fact, I believe Big Al is preparing to do a watch party of that in the near future.
Yeah. He portrayed both saintly and sinner in Omen 3: The Final Conflict. He played Damien the Antichrist, and he also played Cardinal Thomas Wolsey in The Tudors. The actor first came to attention of international audiences in Armstrong's 1975 film My Brilliant Career, which also introduced Judy Davis. He later appeared in Philip Noyce's Dead Calm, a classy thriller set out at sea and starring the then relatively unknown Nicole Kidman, another Australian actor. Look at that. He earned an Emmy nomination for his performance in the title role in the 1998 miniseries Merlin, and another as the narrator of 2017's Wild New Zealand. Niell also earned 3 Golden Globe nods for Merlin, one Against the Wind, and Riley, Ace of Spies. Full career here. I'm going to miss Sam Niell. This is sad.
Yeah.
Big fan of the Merlin miniseries, though. Did you catch the thing at the end of the Merlin miniseries where he's an old man and he's telling the story of King Arthur to the children, and then the Martin Short character who is in it comes over and says, "That was good, but you changed this and you changed that." Well, we have to change things up once in a while. And I'm like, I'm realizing what is the
That's
real
a
King
meta
Arthur?
commentary, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because there were different versions of King Arthur, and obviously this one took liberties with the legend too. I like that it kind of was basically about Merlin versus Queen Maeve, right?
Right.
That was the major overarching conflict, and Morgan Le Fay and King Arthur and all them were sort of getting caught up in it on either side, right? So
right,
it was interesting, but good miniseries. In fact, we haven't had a David Lynch alumni in Isabella Rossellini. She was his love.
Oh, right.
But I really do miss Sam Niell. Perfect casting for the adult Damien too. How about you, Netter? You gonna miss him?
Yeah, he was a really good actor. I liked everything I think that I've seen him in.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just one of those actors where he's very likable no matter what role he's in. And not all actors are like that. Whether they're playing, a villain or the hero, he was likable. Like I said, not all actors can claim that. So I really enjoyed his performances.
Yeah. I heard pneumonia might have done it. Much like Val Kilmer, your immune system takes a real hit. Oh, that's interesting.
True.
Okay. But rest in peace, Sam Niell, and keep an eye out on these channels in the future. Like I said, Big Al's got something planned. But I did not expect to see molded Sam Niell when getting into this stream. You know what it is? It's just kind of long hair, because it was the medieval times. So he's Merlin. He's
right.
Merlin the Magician. And great miniseries, I'm telling you. I love Martin Short in that too. And I'm getting terrified. His name's gonna be next at the rate we're going.
Gosh.
So our first news story of the night. In the I throw this under gaming, though it's more than just that. Microsoft deletes users' 25-year-old account with thousands spent on games and also baby pictures. A Microsoft user has lost all of his digital belongings after his account was deleted by the tech giant. A viral post from a gamer known as Joshua Kahn has been making the rounds on social media after he put Microsoft on blast. The user noted that his account had been compromised, and after reaching out to Microsoft for help, things actually got worse. Instead of giving Kane his account back, Microsoft deleted everything, even after verifying that he was the true owner.
Yeah.
Not only did Kane lose over 25 years worth of video games, he also lost everything that was backed up in Microsoft's cloud storage service, OneDrive. He claims that he lost his son's baby pictures in the process and expressed bitter outrage over the entire situation. Kane did admit that he could have locked his account down better, but ultimately wished that Microsoft provided better customer service to help him regain his account rather than nuke it from existence.
Right.
I mean, this is terrible. The entire situation comes after at a rather relevant time as players debate the validity of owning and value of owning physical items versus digital records. While digitizing things like images and videos via the cloud is a new concept, there is a push from the gaming industry to move away from physical releases. And we know what PlayStation announced it would no longer support produce physical video games starting in 2028. And Xbox is reporting working on a feature to digitize physical gaming libraries ahead of its next console. If digital is the only way forward for gamers, then companies like Microsoft and Sony need to figure out an improved solution for recovering compromised accounts. Part of the benefits of going digital is that your copy cannot be damaged or stolen, minus a publisher revoking your license. But if a company can't figure out how to give you a hacked account back, then it devalues one of the biggest pros of digital gaming.
Yep.
I don't know what to say. I feel really bad for this person.
I do too. I think a lot of people are going to have less than sympathetic attitude because, you know, logic says you back it up. If it's that valuable, you back it up. You don't just trust, some cloud storage, or even your own hard drive can crash. You got to back that thing up from time to time.
Physical media whenever possible, says
right.
Stephen Lawton. Okay. But what's disturbing about this, though, is even the baby pictures. Like, can you give them back the baby pictures? They're of no monetary value.
Nope.
I mean, it's like, it's up to Microsoft.
If that was the only place they were stored and they erased those files, they're gone.
I mean, it's just terrible. And I don't know. Don't you think Microsoft should have restored this guy's account, though? That he proved that he was the owner of the account. Couldn't they have just transferred either fixed it or transferred the files over to a new account that he could use?
I don't know. We're talking these giant mega corporations. They don't give a flying F about any individual or any group of individuals.
Yeah, but here's the thing. This is your customer.
The
guy that gives you money.
No, they don't care because that individual doesn't give them enough money for them to even take notice. They only care about huge corporations and well, at this point, world governments. They don't give a crap about the individuals anymore. When you talk about too big to fail, those are the too big to fail. Not Disney, not, any of your, entertainment corporations. It's only these mega corporations that are really too big to fail.
These gaming companies are going to drive away their customers with this buy our stuff but own nothing mentality. They think people are addicted to these games.
That is true for the game companies. But that's not what Microsoft is. Microsoft is global computers. They honestly do not care about any individual game company, any individual user, none of that.
He had games in his account. I'm assuming these might be Windows, because I know Windows gaming has a storefront. That's what I'm thinking this is, rather than it being Xbox. But yeah, this is not good.
If Xbox, goes away, Microsoft blinks, takes it as a write-off, and moves on.
Vinyl is the most reliable form of storage, even for data. It's 100% mechanical with proper storage. Can last hundreds of years. We have an old record player in my family, actually, from back in the day, and you're right, it is mechanical.
There's even ways to extend that. Vinyl is not the best medium. It's just one of the cheapest. There are very much more expensive analog. I mean, you could theoretically create, and they have made discs, and I mean like LP type discs out of aluminum, actually out of copper and gold. That's what's stuck to the side of Voyager flying through space right now. And they say it'll probably last until the heat death of the universe, unless it falls into a star. You know.
Do you think they included the Witch Doctor song on that gold record?
How crazy!
I saw the Witch Doctor. He told me, you know.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, I just watched Project Hail Mary last night. Actually, I recommend it.
Yeah.
Let's just say that I don't want to spoil it for you. Just watch it. It's an interesting science. It's one of the better science fiction movies I've seen in recent years. But yeah, I'm like, you know, I want to tell you about it, but I can't. You just have to watch it. It's on Amazon right now, actually. Prime, if you have Prime. Xbox Helix.
Oh yeah, I probably could watch it. Yeah.
Yeah. Xbox Helix may only sell 2 million consoles at its launch this year, says analyst. Look at that. That is not good, actually.
Right.
Now, granted, this is an analyst, and to be fair, is it fair to speculate when this thing hasn't even been properly announced yet? Like, maybe it'll be everything you want.
An analyst is going to base this on reasonable data. It's kind of their job to guess, you know, how things are going to go. And I don't think they have a bias in the hunt. I think it's just this is all the data we have. This is what it looks like. You know, give or take 500,000 maybe.
Yeah.
You know.
Microsoft has given out perilously few details about Project Helix, its next generation console, which will arrive on the back of a truly dismal period for the brand. We know it's some sort of PC console hybrid, but the immediate complicating factors are the exodus of consumers from the Xbox brand relative to its competition and skyrocketing hardware costs that have nearly doubled console prices across the board in the past few years, not just on Xbox. Analysts are reading the tea leaves and rendering predictions based on all of this. The firm S&P Global, I've heard of them, have now forecast that Xbox Helix will sell only 2 million consoles in its launch year, below the 3.2 million units for the Xbox X last year, which is the lowest annual total on record. That's terrible for a new console.
Yep.
It's not even doing better than your current console. In 2026, Xbox is predicted to sell only 2.5 million consoles, leagues below its competition of PlayStation and Nintendo. S&P's Global Market Intelligence Analyst Neil Barber, who explains the metrics in using Helix. Okay. Our forecast is functionally splitting the difference between a proper Xbox successor and an Xbox certification program with PC OEMs, and readers should treat the post-2027 Microsoft trajectory as a range of outcomes contingent on decisions yet to be made or revealed. Okay, so I guess he's saying this can still change. This is just based on the knowledge, the information they have now. What he's saying is that if the Helix turns out to be just an open PC platform with an Xbox brand slapped to it, it wouldn't count in the console sales model. A true console would appeal to a narrower, more enthusiastic-orientated audience. Well, this is true. If this is some kind of console PC hybrid, it's really a PC, right?
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
My guess is it's a PC that can play Xbox games. That's why they're allowing your library. They may allow your library to go digital. I don't know. Again, a lot of this is costs, and the PC with an Xbox branding idea will no doubt cost even more. However, this analyst makes many assumptions about the Helix based on limited information. But if these predictions are anywhere close to correct, it would be a disaster. Looking at this past generation, Switch 2 sold 19.86 million units in its first 10 months of launch. PlayStation 5 shipped 17.4 million units in its first 12 months. The Xbox Series X is estimated to have shipped 7.8 million units in its first year, though Xbox no longer lists official console sales numbers. Why are they hiding that information?
Good question.
2 million start for something that's supposed to be the next-gen Xbox would be an utter disaster. Triple that, and it still would. One note is that the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series era was during the pandemic, which caused production shortages that depressed numbers. It's always the fault of the pandemic, isn't it?
Yep.
This analysis is estimating something along the lines of a 5-to-1 ratio from PlayStation and Xbox right now. And while the predictions are low, it is inescapable that the Helix price almost has to be high in the current trade value. Xbox is still in search of a roster of must-have games, and 3, a console that plays PC games is still a pretty niche audience, and it may have to provide more significant benefits than its competition. I don't know if this thing could play Steam games. That might be something, right?
Yeah, and I don't see why it couldn't.
But then it's just a PC.
Right. This is what I don't and I've been saying, and you know I've been saying this for some time. I don't know why people are still buying consoles anymore.
I can explain in the past, a lot of the time games were made for consoles and games were made for PCs, and there wasn't typically a ton of crossover. And sometimes when you get a PC port, like in the old days when I think like when certain games would get ports from console to PC, they were rubbish ports because the company that owned it didn't care. Like I think the Batman games when they originally ported to PC were rubbish, and I think users had to fix them up, so that's not the fault of the PC as a medium. That's just the companies that made the games, though,
right.
But the original reason though for consoles, I have to remember back to the NES days. It was a lot more affordable to go out and buy an NES for like $100 or $150 than it might have been to have to get an expensive graphics card for your PC if you even had a PC. That's the problem we ran into when we transitioned over to game consoles. The PC gaming for us at the time was just too expensive.
Yeah.
And my dad wouldn't justify buying, a proper sound or graphics chip, and then we ended up getting an NES, and it was just a different experience. But I don't know what's going on now. From what I've heard, though, in Japan, they're all about portables. They've given up on consoles. I didn't know about this. Like the Switch is technically a portable. You can hook it up to your TV, but it's a portable game console. You can take it on the road with you. You can play it, you can play it on the bus. And I think what happened is, I think Japan has given up on consoles. And I don't know who Xbox is selling to. I remember a bunch of Xbox diehards a couple of years ago. They were so furious by Phil Spencer. They all said the same thing. We're moving to PC. So I don't know who the audience is right now.
Good question.
Okay. But unfortunately, hold on. I got so many things open. All right, but unfortunately, we have problems going on with PC gaming as well. Let me get into this. This is, of course, due to price issues. AMD expects the overall PC and gaming demand will decline in the second half of the year due to rising memory and component prices. I've heard someone said out there that there's like a cartel hoarding all this memory and preventing competition. Is this true? You heard anything about this?
Yeah,
like
I've heard
companies.
About it. I've heard about it.
I might do research on that for another stream. Okay, I just didn't know if you heard something.
Actually, I did want to bring up. Lynn says, and Microsoft forcibly moves all your hard drive into OneDrive. Well, it does if you don't pay attention to it. You can shut that off, and I encourage you to do that.
Oh, I hate OneDrive.
Yeah.
OneDrive. Is that?
Yeah, my office uses it.
It's Microsoft's default cloud storage, and every time you go to save a document, it saves it to OneDrive, and it's like no, and it does copy it to your hard drive too, but I went to my OneDrive, I erased everything, and I shut it off on my computer. I said no, I don't want it backing up to OneDrive. Yeah. I will back it up to my own external hard drive. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's a privacy issue.
At work, I'll tell it to save to my desktop because things I want to, refer back to, I save to my desktop. It's also on my OneDrive. It's like, I don't want this crap.
Right.
And I had asked IT about it once, and they said something like, oh, we don't delete anything just in case there's ever a liability thing. It's like, it's my own private document on how to do this process, which it means nothing to nobody but me.
Yeah.
I have trouble with my job too. I can't save Word documents to my desktop. I have to save them as a PDF, and they're all stored up on the OneDrive. Like if I'm typing up like notes from a meeting we had or something, And
right.
I don't like that stuff up there. I'm worried someone's going to get into it. I mean, I don't think I'm putting anything in the notes with that's deflammatory, but it's still private work stuff that you don't necessarily want getting out into the public, you know?
Right.
Exactly.
AMD warns PC and gaming demand will decline. Okay, AMD expects the overall PC and gaming demand will decline in the second half of the year due to rising memory and component prices. In its Q1 2026 earnings, AMD's client and gaming segment saw a 23% increase in revenue versus the prior year, reaching $3.94 billion, while declining 9% versus the previous quarter. AMD states that its client side, which includes desktop and laptop segments, saw greater traction through a strong portfolio of products, which include the latest Ryzen 9000 CPUs for desktop and Ryzen AI portfolio for laptops, which stirred an impressive sell-through of more than 50%. While AMD expects demands for the Ryzen CPUs to remain solid in the second quarter of 2026, the overall shipments will see a decline in the second half of the year. That's mainly due to the RAM apocalypse, all of which is caused by a sharp rise in memory prices due to growing demand from the AI industry. And like I said, I do believe that's in part to the growing demands of the AI industry. I also think that they're trying to take people for a ride, the people that make these RAM chips.
Well,
I don't know.
I don't have any reason to believe the latter, because simple supply and demand is, okay, we have these huge orders from these big companies. That means we have to raise the price as more and more demand goes up. Sorry, individual, sorry you can't afford it, but the big company can. We're making our money while we can.
Do you think that the big sales earlier in this year were customers or consumers worried about the price increases, so they said I better get myself a new PC while I can?
I don't know that there was enough people that actually foresaw this for it to be that big a thing. Okay. But it's that time's passed anyway, you know.
Right.
It's I was just lucky that I had to get a new computer when I did. And the prices were already starting to go up.
Right. Industry sources have already warned of an imminent price hike in addition to the 10% bumps that are already placed on consumer chips. These prices will affect both Ryzen desktop and Ryzen laptop CPUs. So yeah, commercial was a key highlight. Okay. The gaming side, which includes both Radeon and console segments, will see a bigger impact due to the rising memory and component costs. AMD states that gaming revenue was down 50% and anticipates a further 20% plus decline versus the first half of 2026. Both Microsoft and Sony have announced increased prices for their current generation consoles, the PlayStation 5 series and the Xbox Series platforms, with more hikes on components, including memory, expected the second half of the year. We can expect another round of price bumps on these consoles. Similar to the PC market, we believe that second half demand in gaming will be impacted by higher memory and component costs, and we are planning the business accordingly. You know what it sounds like? It sounds like the regular Joe is being priced out of his hobby.
Well, yeah, and when resources get scarce, you know, that's what happens. Lynn says they could just manufacture more RAM, but that would lower the value. That doesn't matter to them, though. They see the value already. The faster they can put it out, the more money they could make. It really is as simple as supply and demand. There doesn't need to be any mustache twirling on the part of the manufacturers.
So you're thinking it's the demand from the AI companies that's
absolutely
driving okay,
my question is there value for building these ridiculously large, and I think there is, but not for the reasons people think. Nate helped us with a great analogy on our last AI discussion about the poor value of AI, how you can ask for things over and over and over again before you get what you want, because there isn't enough controls built into it. That's more the commercial applications. One of the things we talked about is you can get your own AI, framework that you could download yourself, put on your hardware, and you can do whatever you want with it, and you could be as specific with it as you want, and it's not going to tell you, oh no, you can't ask for that no word. No, you would have complete control over it. The thing is that people doing this is using up a lot of electricity, a lot of processing, a lot of, believe it or not, water, because water is what cools the computers, the CPUs for these big data centers.
I have a question. Why are these data centers being built near populous areas? Like, I heard of one being built in Illinois. Like, I mean, why not build it out like in the middle of nowhere, like in the middle of the country where there's just.
How do you get people there to work on them? You still have infrastructure. You need to build it. You need to run it. You need people that live nearby.
Well, you could have an AI megalopolis that's just based on the AI industry. I don't know. I don't know that.
That's logistics. But I think what's more important is everyone sees this as being wasteful because it's for this slop AI. But I don't think that's what it's going to be for in the long run. In the long run, you're going to start seeing these big, massive data centers being used by big companies and by governments to process all the information that they have accumulated on you over time.
What? Surveillance?
Oh yeah, this isn't even controversial. This isn't even conspiracy theory. This is absolutely well known. Everybody that's telling you, subscribe to our service and get your name taken off the internet because your information is all out there and blah 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 blah. Everybody knows this.
Why can't they just put the data centers in Alaska and let God cool them for free? Well, the thing is, though, the governor of Alaska may ask that, if you're going to be using up our resources, you have to give the people a profit, like previous governors did.
Exactly.
Like with the oil, that, which is a good thing actually. But I think Alaska takes care of their own usually, right? But
right.
I did want to make a point though that because I was wondering this because we have all these data centers, look at all these amazing things, and I'm like, but you could run the small language models on your own computer at home and get similar results. So why do we need the data centers?
Because for two reasons. One,
the surveillance you mentioned. Yes, possibly.
Exactly. Yeah. But the other is that people don't know. People just go, oh, that's what I need to do. I need to pay $20 a month to have access to this service. Okay, I guess that's what I got to do. They don't have the technical, and this is always the case, right? You could spend thousands of dollars to have a plumber come out and fix your plumbing problem, or if you're a plumber, you can do it yourself for less than $100 in parts. It's knowledge and resources versus accessibility.
I mean, why save this game you got on Steam to your computer when you don't have the space, when you could just play it through the cloud? And it'll be backed up at one of our data centers, and you just play it through the data center. And we'll keep it for you.
Sounds like a used car salesman at work. Exactly.
It sounds like how computers were, and this was what the movie Tron was about the evil mainframe.
Exactly.
Instead of you being a hero that would make instead of it being about having a personal computer that you would run yourself.
And guys, this is what sci-fi has always been about. It's always been about warnings. Warnings about things that can't happen right now, but absolutely could happen in the future. Unfortunately, people dismissed it and forget about it, and then it's too late. 1984 was the same way. Everyone forgot about it, even though a generation was mandated to read it in school. But we've forgotten all those lessons, and we have fallen right into it.
I read it in school, but it was a book report, not for a. It was not mandated. We were mandated Animal Farm, though. That was when we had to read.
Well, there's another great example. In fact, hell, now you could even go see the movie by Gollum that completely changes the whole meaning of the thing.
Oh, Black Mirror predicted all of this. That's interesting. I've not seen that show. All right. Some good news. You know what I was thinking the other day? I go on the Lego site, right? And even though, I keep saying, well, I'm not a Lego adult like all these other people's, it's time consuming. But you know what I notice about Lego as opposed to the gaming industry? You go on Lego and everything is interesting, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like there's always stuff to look forward to. And I'm probably not, I can't get every Lego set, obviously, but it's just neat. Like, there's rumors going around of future sets this year. One includes a Star Trek, the original series set with Kirk and company. Another one is an X-Files set. There's another rumored one. I don't know if this is true. A Universal Monsters Frankenstein Castle.
Nice.
I don't know if this is happening or not, but it's rumored, okay? It was submitted during one of their contests. But this is something that I thought was pretty cool, too. And this is... because when we're forced to go analog, we have to find other means of entertaining ourselves, right?
Right.
Okay, but this is called Mayor Manor, and the new Lego Midnight Valley collection is starting with 11383 Mayor Manor, and fans are infatuated with the build as well as the promise it represents. Mayor Manor is one of the most recent Lego sets to be revealed, with 1,420 pieces for $119.99. The building is confirmed to be the first in the Midnight Valley collection, which appears to be a Halloween counterpart to the popular Winter Village, which focuses on Christmas. While we wait for this new set to release on September 1st and wait to see what Midnight Valley holds, many of the Lego enthusiasts online have fallen in love with Mayor Manor and what it means for the next year and beyond. I want it. Feel lucky that I've collected minifigures as the included ghosts are kind of dull, shares Robert Entry. Hopefully the future brings more variety here. I have my own take on this castle right here.
Okay.
It is for fans of supernatural, but also fans of mystery and suspense. I don't think that this is necessarily a horror set. I think it's a gothic set. Here's what's included. You get a butler and a maid. They have green faces because they glow in the dark. They may not be ghosts. People are assuming they're ghosts. I'm not necessarily assuming that. And then there's like a headmistress of the whole household, and she has like some rich lady. And like, it's really weird. As you can see there, it looks like one of the floors is coming off the building, you know? And if you turn around, there's like a suit of armor and other neat things in the back you can look at. Yeah.
One thing I don't know about this, something you said was this was the analog to the Christmas thing. Is it an exact, is there a Christmas house that's in the exact same style? That would be actually very clever. I could see a whole Christmas village, right? And then out of season, exactly the same houses, but they're in a Halloween style.
Possibly.
That would be neat.
I mean, there are pumpkins in this set, but I don't necessarily see this as a Halloween set, though. That's what's kind of throwing me off. Maybe it could be deemed as a Halloween set. It is creepy looking, but I saw no actual monsters in the set unless the minifigs are actually supposed to be ghosts. I don't know.
Well, and at the same time, I love this is good. This is good marketing potentially. Think about it. You sell something that's leans into mystery, suspense, horror, and isn't necessarily exactly any of those things. And then you start releasing supplement sets.
Yes.
So that you can make it more this way or more that way, and have that flexibility.
Like, what's another set going to be? Are they going to do a cemetery or maybe a caretaker's house? A caretaker's house might be interesting, yeah.
Right.
Sounds like a better version of the Scooby-Doo Lego set. Yeah, the Scooby-Doo Lego set was another haunted house they did years ago, but based on, of course, the Scooby-Doo characters in there, right. But this looks kind of neat if y'all want to start a new line of Lego sets or just buy this by itself. It's kind of cool. It's got stained glass windows in front. They have all these studs. They don't look to have pictures on there. It's just stained glass.
Yeah.
And it's neat. And you get a cat and you get a mouse with a piece of cheese too.
Oh, that's wild.
And I'm already conjuring. See, in my head, it's not a haunted house. It's more like a suspense thing where, the old lady of the house is like Mrs. Havisham or something, and, she thinks her husband's been reincarnated as a cat or something. Or, that's my husband.
Wow, you've got a whole story planned out for it.
Well, you know what? This is technically a Lego adult set, all right? I'm just saying. This is more in the adult line. I got their regular Haunted House 3-in-1 last year, which I greatly enjoyed. So I'm on the fence with this one because I keep saying you can't be buying all these Lego sets, but I'm on the fence. And at 119, and plus if it goes on sale before the year's end to like under 100, I think this is a nice little set.
Yeah.
I think it looks cool. And even if I only bought this and didn't buy anything else in the series, that might still be kind of neat. I'd be curious what Michael from Retroblasting thinks of this, actually.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Because I don't know how into Lego, but this is a new line of Lego set. And like I said, I do think it's more geared... I don't know if you're going to get another set which has like a werewolf or a vampire in it. I think they're trying to be a little more subtle with these sets, maybe. Like, use your imagination whether or not these places are haunted. I mean, we'll know as time goes on. Like, I don't know. Maybe we'll get... what's that place where Dr. Frankenstein bought the body parts from? You might have that in the town or something. I don't know.
The mortuary or whatever,
Timu?
Oh, Timu.
Funny. That'd be funny if you were to do a Frankenstein movie today and it's all based around him having to get stuff on the dark web.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just, yes. I used to get Christmas sets, Train, Santa's Workshop, Train Station, The Village, Christmas Reef, yeah. It's like the Addams Family or the Munsters. They actually have a line of Addams Family sets based on Wednesday, I think.
Wow.
Too. But the figures aren't like the normal minifig scale. They're their own scale. They look pretty cool too, though. But I think they have like the Addams Family house. They've done several houses. They did the house from Stranger Things. You know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
They did that a couple years ago. The one that Freddy Krueger was selling us apart. Well, Robert Englund, I should say, not Freddy Krueger, but in that show. But anyway, I don't know. It looks neat. I just thought something positive for a change, you know?
No kidding.
Like, Lego's got interesting stuff. Like, if you don't want to spend the money on, like, the licensed set, their unlicensed stuff is pretty neat, too. So, I don't know. I'm on the fence, but maybe I'll be persuaded. I'm going to sleep on that, okay? Paramount weighs leaving California over Warner Brothers lift. Don't leave California. Yeah. Where are you going to go? Texas?
Texas, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee.
Vancouver.
No, I don't think they want to go to Canada. That's, yeah.
Paramount weighs leaving California. Okay, as California tries to derail Paramount's $110 billion takeover of Warner Brothers Discovery, Paramount CEO David Ellison's friends and advisors have been pushing the media executive to consider shifting its business out of the state. If they're trying to derail his business, I can see why he'd do that, actually.
Exactly.
Ellison's confidants have pushed him to consider moving its corporate headquarters and reallocating much of its $30 billion in planning and spending outside of the state. If California Attorney General Rob Bonta were to sue to stop the merger, according to people familiar with discussions, I don't blame him. I would do the same thing. I would get out of that.
Right.
No decisions have been made. These people and the considerations may just be a show of brinkmanship, as opposed to brickmanship, if we're talking the Lego article. Anyway. Given so much of the industry's production takes place outside of Hollywood already, under the current deal, Paramount has committed to keeping both companies' lots operational if it remains in California. He's not getting rid of the lots. To be fair, I don't know that he necessarily wants to shut down Warner Brothers. I don't think that's what this takeover is about. I think it's about getting both companies under proper management.
Right.
But Paramount would not be the first company to decamp from California in recent years due to tussles with state regulators. Chevron relocated its corporate headquarters from San Marino, Texas 2 years ago, with Oracle and Tesla have made similar moves to the Lone Star State. What do they expect? You know what? I'm sorry. What do they expect is going to happen if this merger doesn't happen? Warner Brothers is going to be just fine?
Right.
Warner Brothers is dying on the vine. That's why they're coming in here to save it.
There is a certain inevitability there. Let's face it, the whole industry is dying. If this doesn't happen, Warner Brothers just gets sold off piecemeal. I mean, you're not saving anything.
Paramount does have at least one short-term option. The company last year signed a lease in Bayonne, New Jersey, for nearly 300,000 square feet of studio space and could expand operations there. What? New Jersey?
Yeah.
You know what's funny about that?
Huh.
That's where movies started, was New Jersey.
True.
Edison.
That is true.
And they got out of there because Edison said, you can't make a movie unless you're under me.
Right.
And people would just try buying cameras and making their own movies, and he would smash their cameras. So they started, and at first they were trying to think they should go to Florida, but it was too easy to get from New Jersey to Florida. They could just get on a train. That's why a lot of the movie industry relocated to California, because it was hard to get from New Jersey to California. Did you know that?
Yeah,
okay, you knew
I
that.
did know that.
Doesn't matter. Thomas Edison is still a New Jersey state hero. He's our biggest name. Yeah, it just is. For his part, Ellison remains wary of the idea of leaving California. Some of the people said he relocated Paramount's corporate headquarters from New York to Los Angeles after his original deal to purchase the company closed last year, and has spent most of his life in California. Paramount has made repeated entreaties to Bonta to strike a deal that would allow its merger with Warner Brothers to close. The studio proposed a firm commitment via a consent decree to produce 30 films annually with 45-day theatrical window and 90-day streaming window, alongside promises to keep both Paramount and Warner Brothers lots open in California, people said. Privately, Ellison and other Paramount executives have expressed frustration at Bonta's refusal to engage, and have pointed that the commitments around content spending, some $30 billion annually, and employment that would flow into California. Already, the region has faced production exodus over other states, even to Canada, with thousands of entertainment jobs lost in recent years. Ellison and his executives have said that the combined Warner Brothers Paramount would create jobs in California, helping to stymie that outflow. But Paramount believes Bonta's office has rebuffed its overtures, creating one, Ellison advisors said, as an inhospitable environment for Paramount to operate in. If Bonta sues, the advisors said, the state's hostility would push the company over the edge. Bonta's office did not return requests for comment. Why aren't they commenting?
Well,
they're public servants. They need to give out statements.
Exactly.
But when talked about Semaphor's report on Monday press conference in front of Los Angeles Hollywood sign, and said that Paramount's considerations seemed like a last-ditch effort to blackmail my office. Ooh, what? This doesn't sound right to me.
No.
Maybe you were supposed to grease this guy's palms. Maybe that's what you didn't do.
I got some bacon grease.
Well, I'm just saying. Let me see. Come listen to a story about a man named Ellison. I'm sick and tired of California telling him what he should do. So he's giving him the finger and saying to the loo. Does that mean going to France?
Well.
Or French Canada, maybe. I don't know.
Toodaloo. It means goodbye.
All right, moving on to The Batman 2 delayed again to February 2028. Matt Reeves drops first camera test footage of Robert Pattinson's return.
Yep.
They're going to lose all their momentum they built off of the Penguin series. Okay, it's fine. Why is this so difficult? Matt Reeves' The Batman Part 2 is being delayed once again and will now open in theaters on February 18th, 2028. The release date is nearly 6 years after the March 2022 opening of The Batman. Reeves announced the new opening date on Vimeo, accompanied by the first camera test footage of Robert Pattinson's return as the Dark Knight. Joining Pattinson in the long-delayed sequel are Scarlett Johansson and Sebastian Stan, plus Game of Thrones actor Charles Dance, Brian Tyree Henry, and Sebastian Koch. Reeves co-wrote the sequel screenplay with Mattson Tomlin. Plot details remain under wraps, as do the roles being played by the film's supporting cast. The Batman Part 2 was originally supposed to open October 2nd, 2026, before Warner Brothers delayed it to October 1st, 2027. Moving the film to 2028 will give Reeves additional time in post-production. DC Studios co-chief James Gunn defended the first release delay by expressing how it's fairly common for big-budget movies to have lengthy gaps before a sequel arrives. Dude, this is 6 years.
Yeah.
And isn't Pattinson the one who didn't want to lose weight for the role?
Yeah, and there was that whole thing too. That's right.
We got into what Dustin about. Here's the thing about Pattinson. I'm actually gonna cut him some slack and realize that during those interviews, he just says weird things. He said this in an interview. He says weird things because he's nervous in interviews. Like, he was working out for the role. He just said that he didn't believe him. I don't know why he did that, but I'm trying to defend him.
There were pictures of him with a huge.
No, I mean, I'm sorry if that's if that's how you are, then don't do interviews. Just shut up.
Yeah,
and let people think that you're just reclusive or whatever,
Anyway, when I saw it, anyway. Oh, wait a minute. There's something going on with Abrams. Hold on. Warner Brothers has shifted other release dates as well as J.J. Abrams' mysterious new movie, The Great Beyond, starring Glenn Powell and Jenna Ortega, is being delayed from November 13, 2026 to October 1st, 2027. What's The Great Beyond?
Don't know, never heard of it.
Well, that's the big question of the ages, right?
Well, Abrams is going to answer it. Aren't you excited?
Yeah, not really.
Thrilled. I'm on the edge of my seat.
If Gunn's contract is done after Superman's James Gunn 2 and the Batman 2 is a success, then he can't take any of the credit. Here's the thing with James Gunn. He has shown that, I'm a big fan of the Batman, and I'm perfectly fine with this other trilogy existing, even though I'm doing my own Batman movie set in my own universe, which apparently can't use any of the villains, except for maybe Clayface, because they're doing a Clayface movie.
Yeah, and this is all DC continuing to shoot itself in the foot because it's DC.
This is why you don't have a TV series while you're making movies, because you'll have delays. B, writing if it's canon. C, when do these events take place? Well, I get what you're saying. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ran into problems with that. I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. resolved it and saying it was just another universe that it was taking place in. That was, I guess, similar enough to the Marvel Universe proper, because they couldn't handle the snap on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It didn't make any sense to them on that show when the snap happened. Poor Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I lost interest in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when they got kicked off their ship and were kind of going on their, doing their own thing. It's like, okay, it's not the same show anymore.
Right.
And I actually started losing interest before then because it just wasn't interesting.
Oh, well, I thought it got better as it went along. I think you're thinking of when Hydra got revealed, right? Or is this later?
The last episode I remember seeing, they got kicked off their ship, or Hydra, I guess, took over their ship, and Coulson was getting his car back because that was like his most prized possession, and that's all I remember of the episode. I mean, that shows you how bad it was.
That was early on. That was because they unfortunately, when the writers of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. started out the first season, no one at Marvel, until much later after writing the season, told them, oh, by the way, S.H.I.E.L.D. has been compromised by Hydra and the whole thing is going to collapse. And like, you couldn't have told us that earlier in the season. So we could have planned. I mean, they did their best to plan around it, but it was just... because to them, Hydra was a thing in the past. They would talk about Hydra as one of the things S.H.I.E.L.D. took out in the past. But then, it's just...
Yeah,
anyway,
it started getting kind of ridiculous when they had some sort of, I don't know, alien or something on their ship or at their base that they were trying to hunt down, trying to figure out who it was. Was it one of them? Was it somebody else? And it's like, okay, they're just reaching here.
It reminded me of an old Joss Whedon type series. What was I going to say to you, though? The Penguin series, all the Penguin series is about the Penguin rising in power, okay? Not being like a soldier, like in a mob organization, moving up to being like a head of one. And that's sort of how the series ends. And like, having politicians on the payroll, sort of stuff like that. And that's sort of how the series ends. He basically ascends to power, which, to be fair, if you were to watch a Batman sequel and the Penguin's in it, you just would assume that stuff happened between the movies, right? So it's not that... It's I don't think it'll interfere one way or the other, but... Okay, here we go. So Jesse Carter's bringing up Ghost Rider. Okay, yes, I know. Let's not get on an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. tangent. Evil Dead Burn turns to ashes in the box office. Did not do well, the new Evil Dead movie. As someone who actually went out to see it opening weekend, I have this to say: they should have made a better movie. But okay, there I said it. Okay. As hard as Evil Dead Burn goes, its opening weekend is shaping up to be a real disappointment. After weeks of tracking in the $25 million to $30 million range, the latest estimates have the film opening at a brutal $13.7 million domestically. That's a massive miss, and well below where everyone expected it to land. Why, I have no idea. The only thing I could remotely point to is that it was the first genuinely beautiful weekend across much of the Midwest and East Coast in spring. It also landed right in the middle of the FIFA World Cup. It was at my kid's birthday party, and everywhere I looked, there were dads standing around watching matches on their phones. Well, I was hoping that they wouldn't be bringing their kids to see Evil Dead Burn. Just saying.
Right?
It's not a kid's movie, man. In fact, part of me wonders how that movie got an R rating, considering some of the violence in it. And I don't get it. I don't get why I hate Burn so much, but I like the Evil Dead remake, even though that's more brutal than Evil Dead Burn. Yes, but even though that remake didn't have Ash in it, I still like the characters in it. I think there was some actual kind of heroism on display in certain instances, even though people got killed. Whereas everyone in this new Evil Dead is horribly unlikable in the entire movie. And they said it was a French director that made it, who I guess does French extremist horror, which I'm not familiar with, and maybe that's what threw me off. I didn't like that. But next weekend, Odyssey hits theaters, and I think it's going to extinguish Evil Dead Burn for good. Okay. Which is odd, because they already have another movie planned.
Which is fine, because I think that when Spider-Man comes, it's going to extinguish the Odyssey. So there you go.
Spider-Man always does well. Well,
True.
Usually. I don't know how the Garfield movies did, but yeah. Let's get on to the major story of the night, though. Oh, damn! I thought the horror fans would show for it. Guess they didn't like Rise as much as I thought. I'm mixed on Rise. Thank you, Netter, by the way, for giving me the code for Rise. I did watch it before seeing this. You gave me
good.
There you
Evil Dead
go.
Rise, but I didn't like Rise as much too, because I was complaining the fact that we're setting in an apartment complex. Well, you set an apartment complex and you treat it like a cabin in the woods. I
Right.
want people going around to different floors and running into other people's apartments, running away from the Deadites. I don't want to see everything taking place in like a singular apartment. There's no point in using the setting then. I'm fine. If there was a new Evil Dead, it should probably star Kelly, Pablo, and Brandy. Yeah, they were in the Ash versus the Evil Dead series. Big fan of Ash versus the Evil Dead. That was an excellent follow-up. Bruce Campbell has so many one-liners in that. I know people had fun with the FIFA tournament, but I'm so freaking happy it's over because I'm tired of hearing about it. News from coworkers. I don't let anyone at my job talks about either. It's FIFA this, FIFA that. But you know, I'm not going to rain on the parade. If they're happy, you know, that's good. I mean, this is what stuff is supposed to do. It's supposed to, you know, lift your spirits, right? Not make you depressed. Sony's Crunchyroll has put its merchandise store behind a paywall.
Oh my gosh, that is the most ridiculous. And you know what? It reminds me of Hasbro with their premium service on Hasbro Pulse, so that you can pay for the opportunity to buy something before anyone else does. But there's still no guarantee. It's not going to go out of. It's not going to sell out before you get there, so you paid for nothing.
This is a scam. Let's read the article. I'm a little confused by this too, because if it's what I think it is, I'm even angrier. But we're going to get into it because I have two articles on this. You know what they say? You've got to spend money to spend money. That's how it goes, right? No, that's not how it goes. Actually,
Right. That's the whole point, I think.
You know, you go to Lego.com and you sign up for the Lego Insiders and to get deals at their site. You know what they charge you?
What?
Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
They charge you nothing, and if you buy stuff
Because it's
from the store, you
marketing.
get, yes.
They just want you to know about it, to be interested in it.
Don't get ideas, Lego. Don't do it. Well, at least that's what Sony thinks, as its anime service Crunchyroll has announced that subscribers will need to be in the Mega or Ultimate fan tiers in order to make purchases in its merchandise shop, which will include exclusive collaborations, drops, and premium releases. This sounds like the Hasbro thing you were just telling about.
Yep.
The problem, of course, is an annoyingly monthly paywall to even access the store in the first place. The charge means that it is $14 a month for the mega tier and $18 a month for the ultimate tier, with a yearly bundle that is $140 and $180 a year respectively, or else no stores access. That will give you the ability to give more money to Crunchyroll for the luxury spending anywhere from a small amount to hundreds of dollars in the shop. The $10 a month fan subscription does not give you access to the store. You may imagine that such a move is not going over well with the fans who have taken the social media to blast the announcement, ratios, and complaints. A sampling. Folks, if this upsets you, don't just complain, vote with your wallet and cancel your subscription. There is nothing worthwhile that Crunchyroll provides that you can't get elsewhere. Just when you think Sony couldn't get any greedier, they have their anime company lock their store behind a paywall.
Yeah.
Paying for the right to shop has got to be the worst thing I've seen happen to anime scene in a while. Good job, Crunchyroll. I will just buy my anime products somewhere. You aren't the only game in town, and thank God for that. Not if you're locking your store behind a paywall, but you also lock in behind the highest tiers of that paywall, man. That's the type of greed they talk about in the Bible.
Yeah.
It's noticeable that Crunchyroll is owned by Sony, no stranger to price increases in its PlayStation gaming arm. Sony raised its prices in 2026 across all PlayStation Plus tiers $1 to $2 each. Yeah, I know. I don't care about the PlayStation. We've talked enough about it tonight. Okay, though the Crunchyroll store paywall idea is certainly one of the weirdest, and there's no explanation given that the simple announcing that it's happening. But before that is a 50% sale on some store items, needless to say, that is not placated fans, and no one is celebrating this move. This is interesting, because guess what? I have a history with this. I need to give you a little history lesson. I almost thought about doing this for good old days, but I chose something else. Okay, so this is The Right Stuff. This was a small Midwestern anime distributor. They always said it with pride on their catalogs. This was how I bought the majority of my anime through... We're going back to the late 90s when they had VHS tapes. I think I started buying them through The Right Stuff. Later on, I would buy DVDs through The Right Stuff and even Blu-rays later on. But they were pretty good. They were an anime distribution company. They would have sales every so often so you could get deals. I think you got free shipping if you spent over 50 or 60. So I ended up buying more anime than I probably would have to get that free shipping. You know, my dad used to complain I had a pack-a-day habit. So we get a lot of packages in the mail. I own a lot of anime, that's what I'm trying to say. And a lot of it came from The Right Stuff. I'm very familiar with them. And then Sony buys out Crunchyroll, which was a streaming anime platform, okay? And I think they got Funimation, which was a major anime distribution company. And then they also bought out The Right Stuff. The Right Stuff no longer exists. It's no longer this small Midwestern anime distribution. It's now owned by Sony. And you know what I said after they bought it and turned it into the Crunchyroll store? You know what I said?
What?
This is going to go to shit at some point.
Yeah.
It will happen. I'm surprised actually it's taken this long. I knew it was going to happen. This was actually before I started streaming. I think this was around 2020 when this happened, if I'm not mistaken. They ended up buying the store. And at first it was okay because, well, they still have the sales, and you can still get the free shipping. So even though I didn't really like Sony at the time, I'm like, okay, if there's something I want from her, I'll still pick it up. I was very confused by this last article because I was like, well, theoretically, if all this stuff is by the paywall, and if this is the same Crunchyroll store, unless this is a different store that's accessed through their streaming service, which doesn't make sense. I think it's this store, and I'm still seeing items on here I can purchase. Then I did something strange. I went to find out what my favorite anime distributor, Discotech Publishing, what they were releasing, and I found out that they had these Lupin sets, and I thought it was odd when I typed Lupin into the Crunchyroll store that I only came up with a couple items, and I'm like, is this stuff all gone? And then I did a search on their recent sets that they announced were already out. And I did a search on Google, and I found those Lupin sets. And then I clicked on the link, and it brings me to the Crunchyroll store. But it's all like kind of faded and gray, and I can't click on the buy option.
Right.
So this strikes me as very shady, and I wonder if it's only select items are available to people and you don't get the full catalog unless you're a top tier member.
Exactly.
Oh.
That's exactly right.
I've been a loyal customer with this company for the
I
better
told
part
you
of 2
these
decades.
companies do not care about you. They
Well,
don't.
I would also argue that the company that did care about me is no longer existing because they bought it out.
Exactly.
By the way, that's the Dirty Pair. They're a couple of intergalactic bounty hunters.
Okay.
It's an 80s anime. I like it a lot, actually. Apparently, the guy that created them was a big fan of Japanese female wrestling and based the characters on female wrestlers he was a fan of.
Oh, okay. Oh, there you go.
At the time. But, so Sony wants to be like Sam's and Costco. But I feel like Sam's and Costco is up front. That was always their business. And Sam's and Costco are also physical locations. I hate to say this. Someone made a point. You know why Sam's and Costco, places like that, charge a membership fee?
Why?
To keep thieves out. Thieves are not going to go.
Sense.
You have a membership thing. You let the person in because and it makes sense actually. You know, like we had all the people robbing Targets and places like that.
Yep.
They don't go to places like Costco because there's a membership and you have to pay for it. Now I don't even know if what they charge is unreasonable compared to the savings you get, but that's what some guy theorized. That's why they did it. I don't think they say that out loud, but somebody estimated that's why they do it.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. But this is not a physical storefront.
That's why I pointed this out a long time ago. I know that nobody knows what newspapers are anymore, but back when you actually had printed newspapers, the reason that they charged a quarter, $1, whatever it was, some nominal price, wasn't because that's where they made their money. They made all their money from the adverts in the newspaper. The reason they charged for it was so that you didn't just go and take a whole bunch of them and line your cat litter box with them and consider them free. There was value. You assumed value because you were being charged for it.
Yep.
Did you know that's how comic books started? Lots of ads.
Yeah.
And
that makes sense.
yeah, that's interesting. This is the big story of the night, though. So Sony-owned Crunchyroll is now kneecapping physical anime sales, as if this couldn't get worse, and it's gotten worse. If you watch anime regularly, you are certainly aware of Crunchyroll, a subscription streaming service owned by Sony that delivers many new and classic anime series to audiences across the globe. Yeah, but you know what? Who never subscribed to it? Me, because I knew it was. I hate Crunchyroll. I hate Funimation, and I hate Sony, and I didn't want them involved.
Do you know why they're doing this?
Why?
Think about it.
You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. Go ahead.
There is that element of it. But remember who's in charge of Crunchyroll now. These are all people who hate anime. These are all people who hate anime. They hate this picture you're showing here. Okay?
You're right. You're right.
They literally are trying to kill the business.
This catalog cover was made at a time before we had the Great Awakening. I forgot about that. And there's nothing wrong with their outfits. They're like I said, they were based on wrestling attire, to be honest with you. That's what they were based on. But it's basically a space opera where they're going around and they're capturing bad guys, across space colonies and stuff like that. It's a fun show. And they hate beauty too. Yeah. Well, one thing I like about the Dirty Pair is that the two leads have very different looks too. But what was I going to say though? Let me get back into this. So its biggest name in that space, regularly beating out Netflix and Amazon for rights to stream the medium's biggest hit. This is another problem too with anime. Funimation, I think, is also owned by Crunchyroll. Like I think Crunchyroll was the streaming distribution thing for Funimation, and I hate Funimation. That's where you got a lot of those activists, script writers and actors in anime, the ones that got rid of Vic Mignogna, you know him? Yeah. They all came from Funimation, and they're the ones changing the scripts to put talking points in the dubbing that aren't in the Japanese version because they don't have our politics over there. And I'm just... these were the people. I have not bought a Funimation disc in a long time. But okay, it's also got an online store where you can buy your favorite anime on physical media, which many devoted fans do, since streaming rights to shows can and do frequently expire. Yes, and but that's not how I watched anime. I didn't watch it through streaming. I would unless it was on a service someone else was already subscribed to. I would buy the discs. They're the right stuff, which you bought out and you threw the old people out, and you took it over, and now you're ruining it. Okay, so some background in 2023. Oh, it was back in 2023. So it's not as far back as I thought. 2023, Crunchyroll purchased the Right Stuff International, an Iowa-based online retailer of anime, DVDs, Blu-rays, manga, and merchandise to bolster their sales and merchandising presence. The Right Stuff was folded into the Crunchyroll store, where it continued to be a source of physical anime media, offering discs of not just Crunchyroll licensed anime, but also shows and films from a wide variety of licensors. So keep in mind that the Right Stuff, even though it's owned by Crunchyroll, and Sony owns, I think they own Aniplex, which was the Sony-owned anime distribution, but then they got Funimation as well. It also sells anime that's distributed by other companies, right? Like Discotech or Sentai Filmworks, companies they don't own. So sometimes you still have to go there. Even if I'm boycotting Funimation, I would still go to the Crunchyroll store to buy stuff by other distributors. Do you understand?
Yes.
That makes sense. Yes. So they folded into the store, and I knew. I said it's a matter of time before this goes to crap. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's going to go to crap. And I didn't know how it was going to happen either. I thought they were going to start bullying the other distributors or something. But here's what happened. Unfortunately, it seems the time of the Crunchyroll store being a massive anime retail store with a broad selection open to all is coming to an end. According to a recent statement and FAQ posted online, the store will be dropping much of its current stock and transitioning to a brand new shopping experience that will be available exclusively for Mega and Ultimate fans. Okay. Instead of physical discs, the Crunchyroll store will focus on collectibles, curated drops, and limited release projects inspired by the anime series you love. Reactions online to the announcement have been swift and angry, with longtime customers going back to the Right Stuff days. Yes, I'm one of those.
Yeah.
Besides cutting their product offerings in limited store to higher paid subscription tiers, many have pointed out that Crunchyroll has dropped the ball on supporting popular series that the Right Stuff initially licensed and distributed after purchase, leaving physical releases of Gundam and Macross shows in the lurch and mishandling an ongoing Kickstarter to release the classic Dirty Pair anime on Blu-ray. It's funny, I just showed the Dirty Pair a second ago because I have the DVDs of that, but apparently they were going to try and get it on Blu-ray, but of course they did a Kickstarter instead of just doing what they used to do in the past and just release the stupid thing. Okay? Yeah. Other fans have noticed that Crunchyroll is recently severely cutting down on stocking releases from boutique licensors recently. Boutique licensors like Discotech Media, which is what I like to buy from. The transition leaves many anime fans without a go-to disc shop and calls into questions whether or not Crunchyroll licensed shows will even see a physical release in the future. Taken with Sony's sudden decision to kill off PlayStation discs in early 2020, it's hard for many fans to see this as another act of hostility toward the physical medium they love. Okay, I'm short answer for this. Sony wants to have a monopoly, has been trying to have a monopoly on anime, and when they get that monopoly, they will stop having it on physical media.
Yep.
And they think they can do this. Now, I have refused to buy Funimation DVDs for a long time. I'm basically of the opinion, I wish these companies in Japan would stop giving their best stuff to Funimation. It's why I haven't gotten a lot of series in recent years. Though I do, fortunately, my boutique labels I support, they do support some of the anime I really enjoy, so it wasn't as bad a hit for me. But let me see. In August 2021, Sony, which already owned Funimation, acquired Crunchyroll for $1.175 million. Following the acquisition, Sony decided to merge the two anime giants into a single brand. Technically, parent company Funimation Global was rebranded to Crunchyroll, choosing to keep the Crunchyroll name because it had stronger brand recognition. Oh, so they got rid of Funimation altogether and they just merged it into Crunchyroll. Okay. I hate that name. Mm-hmm. It sounds like a sushi bar.
I know. I'm sitting there going, is that a snack or what?
It's stupid is what it is. It represents things in anime. I don't hang out with anime fandom. I like anime, but I don't necessarily hang out with a lot of the fandom. Guess what, though? One of the great things about physical media and is that you can have competing storefronts. And if you don't mind, I'm going to move this a little out of the way so we can read this. I'll put it back in a second. This is from Media OCD. I love that title, by the way.
Yeah.
Like you're obsessive compulsive about media. Do you see what it says here? Okay, you will own nothing and be happy. Nothing is crossed out, and then it says you will own everything.
Everything and be happy. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And they had some Lupin DVDs on sale. I picked them up. They're going to get my support. So my advice to you, stop buying anime releases from Sony. Don't even pay them attention. There are other companies that release anime, and buy them from competing storefronts. Do not go to Crunchyroll. Just stop it. You can go to Media OCD. I think this is owned by Discotech and Animego, or maybe it's Animego that runs this. And then there's another store, Sentai Filmworks, is having their summer sale. And keep in mind, these storefronts, while they're owned by anime distributors, they sell their competition stuff on there too. So, the only thing they don't sell on here is the Crunchyroll stuff, because Sony owns it and they probably won't allow it to be sold anywhere but the Crunchyroll store, which they're quickly phasing out to sell actual physical DVDs, which is what the Right Stuff was always about. All of the merchandise and other stuff, that was secondary. It was always about buying the physical media. And this is Sony again. And now I'm starting to wonder if this whole thing with the PlayStation 6 and now with the anime, I wonder if there's a more sinister thing involved in this.
It's kind of obvious, man. There's no question about it.
It's just they don't want you owning anything. So I'm getting a little hoarse right now because I'm a little angry about this. But this is just technically the parent company, Funimation Global. Okay, it was rebranded. Okay, sounds like a candy bar. F Sony. These guys sound like they want. It's funny because I remember the time this merger happened, I was really angry with Sony over their treatment of Japanese developers on the PlayStation side of things. They were doing unnecessary censorship. I even tried boycotting the PlayStation for a while, but it didn't matter because people still supported PlayStation. But now, I with the Crunchyroll store, I'm like, I knew things were going to go south at some point. And I wasn't real too keen on buying from them after the rebrand, after Right Stuff. And now they've completely destroyed the Right Stuff. They buy out, here's what you do. You buy out the distributor, and then you destroy the distributor because you don't want the stuff being distributed anymore.
Right.
So who knows if they're going to go after these other more boutique anime labels. Hopefully they will leave them alone.
Yeah, well, not if they have the ability to go after them.
Yeah.
Don't count on it.
So, like I said, Sentai, they have a website you can go to if you're an anime fan. They're having a sale right now. I actually got a Lupin the Third Part 6. It was on sale for $25. That's a very good deal, so I picked that up. That's an entire series for $25. That's pretty cheap for an anime. But I'm excited about Lupin the Third Part 6. I never got around to watching it because that one is Lupin the Third versus Sherlock Holmes. So,
there you go.
I'm sure they're going to butcher Sherlock Holmes. We'll see. But his new series, he goes up against different villains. Lupin the Third Part 5 was Lupin the Third versus the Internet.
Okay, interesting.
I'll explain why. Let's say you're the greatest gentleman thief in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you be a gentleman thief when you have cameras on you all the time?
Good point.
In fact, the villains in it, is there a group on the internet that was called Silk Road? Is that right? They were a criminal enterprise offering off the internet? I think they were called Silk Road. Yeah, they did like illegal things, like they sold illegal contraband and other things through the internet. I think they were the main villains on this, but they were using the internet to their advantage to basically stop this thief. But have you seen Netflix live action Lupin? I have not yet. I heard it's not necessarily related to the anime, but it's its own thing. I think it's about a thief that's honoring the literary character Lupin. But I'm curious about it. I may check it out one of these days. According to deleted scenes, the new Carrie will have... Oh, there's a new Carrie coming out. I didn't know that. Well, I'll have to... Maybe that'll be for next time. It's going to have messaging in it. I'm sure Stephen King is writing it himself, probably. Okay. Great show. Thank you, me and my monkey. I think we're about done for the night. But I just loved... I thought I would at least cap it with you will own everything and be happy. There are still companies out there and distributors that understand the value of what they sell, and you should throw them your support, you know?
And worst comes to worst, we go back to the good old days when this stuff wasn't even available in the United States, and you found it through the guy at the convention who had racks and racks of VHS tapes.
You know what people used to do back in the day, in early days of anime, because a lot of these series would take forever to come out over here. They would do what they called fan subs, where they would make a recording of the anime with their own subtitles, and you could get these at fan conventions, and they wouldn't make a profit of it. It was usually just the cost of like shipping it and the cost of the tape. You know, it was something they did for fun. But I watched some anime that way, and later on it got regular releases, and I bought those later on. But sometimes to catch this stuff early on, it's horrible. I feel like we're regressing back to the way things were before people owned physical media.
I see this all the time. This is why these kinds of cycles happen. You don't learn from history. You repeat it. You still don't learn the lesson. You repeat it. You know, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. You know, we keep doing it over and over and over again.
Did you know I learned in one of my library courses that in Victorian England, the libraries weren't public; they were subscription services. Like you pay a fee to use the library, right?
Oh, okay.
But then then the libraries would request special editions of books from publishers where they would take a novel and split it into 3 parts. So people.
Oh, yes.
Isn't that awful?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, you can get you can get this copy of Dracula, but it's in 4 parts, and you have to they each count as your rental credit for the month or something. It's like, what do you do? Greed. That's what it was. It doesn't. People don't change, unfortunately. You know, it's like that. All right.
Which, I'll be honest with you, is probably the best response to why communism never works. Well, real communism has never been tried. Real communism is impossible because it relies on everyone being honest and sharing. And that doesn't happen. That is literally the opposite of human nature.
It is. Yeah, it is. So, anyway, what's going on after the stream? If you're a member of a Deleted Scenes channel, you can watch his Behind the Curtain coming up shortly, right?
Yep.
And then in a little over an hour, we have a new episode of Doctor Who on your channel, right?
Yep. We're going to be finishing off the the arc of the Romans.
Yes. Talk about how bad physical media was in England. You couldn't even watch Doctor Who after it aired once. You know.
Well, and I mean, it was kind of the same way here, and we've talked about that before.
We at least got repeats. They never got repeats over there.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We did have reruns. We had this whole concept of syndication.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason that once they got to that 3rd season of Star Trek, it went into syndication. And so you were able to. That's why, you know, people of our generation actually were able to see it, because I wasn't alive in the 60s when it was originally airing.
No.
You know, it wasn't until it was reshown in the 70s that I was able to watch that. That's what kept it alive. Doctor Who, the only reason it stayed alive was because it was a continuous show that continued into the time period when eventually media could be saved, you know? So that's why after about the 3rd Doctor, you start having less of those missing episodes because they still existed.
Yeah.
And fans started recording things off of TV and so forth. But that's why there's still so much of the 1st through the 3rd Doctors, because there's still a couple of the 3rd Doctors missing. So yeah, that's absolutely true.
Lost media.
Exactly.
In fact, I remember why now I bought a lot of the anime from the rights to, because I was never sure if this stuff would ever stay in print.
Good point.
Oh. All right. So y'all have a good week. I will see you next time. Anyone parting words from either of you before we leave? Any good night?
Nope. Just want everybody to make sure that you are subscribed to Aged Boomer. We are trying to get him to that magic 500 number. It's a sin that we've been at this for over 2 years, and he's still not monetized. So make sure that you're subscribed.
On all of your entities.
Yes, if you have more than one channel, please make
And if
sure.
you feel like making a few
subscribed.
more, go for it.
Well, I'm not gonna push for that, but
I should do that myself, maybe. Anyway, but
Okay.
oh, sorry. Y'all have a good week.
No, that's it.
Oh, okay.
Take
That's
care.
it.
I'll shut up. I'm done.
No, it's okay. It's okay, man. I was just gonna say I have a new mic now too, so it should be sounding better. Okay.
I also want to remind my members, most of which are here, make sure you go over to my channel, to the members poll, and vote for when you want to have your members only night, either this Thursday or next Thursday. And I'll make the decision, or I'll see where we are Wednesday night, whether or not it's going to be Thursday or the next Thursday.
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Y'all have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next time.
Take care.
Good night.